Incredible moment revealed. Maid's daughter surprises Billionaire with heartwarming answer, transforms lives. The auditorium buzzed with excitement. The air was thick with anticipation as the graduation ceremony for Maplewood High unfolded. Brightly colored tassels swayed with each movement, laughter mixed with heartfelt tears. Among the throng of jubilant graduates stood Mia, the daughter of Rosa, the dedicated maid who cleaned the grand estate of billionaire John Carter. Despite being surrounded by wealth and privilege, Mia felt isolated, her heart heavy with the struggles her family faced. As her friends flashed their acceptance letters to elite colleges, Mia stayed focused on her own dream to create a scholarship for underprivileged children like her. It wasn't just ambition that drove Mia, it was the determination to rise above the shackles of socioeconomic barriers that had marked her upbringing. She had spent year after year watching her mother pour every ounce of love and sweat into keeping food on the table. But today, the unveiling of John Carter as the keynote speaker complicated her emotions. The scandal of economic inequality surrounding him loomed like a dark cloud over what should have been a day of celebration. Mia stood backstage, her palms clammy, a tempest of emotions swirling inside her. She heard the crowd erupt in applause as John took the stage, his polished words promising community betterment and support for the underprivileged. But beneath layers of charm lay countless invisible sacrifices. The lives of countless families ground beneath the wheels of capitalism. She felt the urgency rise in her chest, pressing against her ribs as she stared at John, a man who wielded unfathomable power without a second thought to those who made his empire thrive. The ceremony rolled on, and Mia shifted nervously. Soon it would be her turn, a moment when she could bridge the chasm of understanding between her world and his. Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes as she gathered her breath, focusing on her mom's smile, flashing in her mind and driving her resolve. Mia stepped forward, her heart pounding as she addressed the crowd, pausing to seek out her mother in the audience. "Mr. Carter," she began, her voice shaking like a leaf, "my mother is a maid who has dedicated her life to working in your house. Her sacrifices have kept us afloat. I appreciate your words today, but they seem hollow in the light of countless people left behind. You talk about commitment to the community, but what about those who keep your home running? What about us?" A stunned silence fell over the room. The crowd between admiration and discomfort echoed within the cavernous auditorium as she continued. "I dream of creating a scholarship to help children like me, children with potential trapped by financial barriers. But to make a difference, we need more than kind words. We need actions." The raw honesty in her voice hit like a thunderclap. The audience held its breath, captivated by Mia's fierce spirit. John's expression transformed, reflecting guilt, a jarring awakening as he glanced at her. In that moment, it was more than just a speech. It was a confrontation, a future intertwined. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Mia extended her hand, heart racing, offering a partnership to John for her scholarship. The air crackled with suspense, eyes locked between them, hope radiating from her expression. Would he finally grasp the depth of disparity? Would he step down from his ivory tower and reach out to change the hearts and lives of countless children? Mia's insistent gaze lingered, asking an unspoken question that could alter destinies. Could true understanding and solidarity bridge the vast chasm of privilege? The atmosphere thickened, ripe with potential, as the audience watched in anxious anticipation, leaving this story poised on the edge of possibility, ready to unfold in the next chapter. The weight of the moment hung heavily in the air. Mia's hand trembled slightly as it remained outstretched toward John, her heart pounding in a wild rhythm, beating like a drum of defiance. The once energetic applause had faded into an eerie silence, every eye glued to the two of them as if time had stopped. John Carter blinked, a flurry of emotions washing over his face. Initially, there was surprise, then confusion, and finally, an unsettling realization that maybe, just maybe, his carefully cultivated image of the benevolent billionaire was cracking under the pressure of truth. He had spent years building a legacy, but in this moment, it felt all too fragile. "Mia," he began, his voice low, uncertain. I'm asking you for help," she interjected, strong and clear. "Help me make this scholarship a reality. I genuinely believe we can change lives together." The room remained still, each person torn between the gravity of her plea and the prospect of what John's response might be. For a moment, he hesitated, weighing the heft of her words, the comfort of his position, battling the urgency of her plea. This was no longer a staged speech. It was an invitation to change, to break free from the cyclical nature of wealth and hardship. I need to think," he finally managed, glancing around the auditorium as if looking for refuge in the sea of faces. Suddenly aware of their judgment, he searched for words that would paint him in a favorable light. The audience murmured, the collective sigh underlining the tension. Mia felt her heart sink. Was he recoiling from the challenge, retreating back to his gilded existence? Was it too much to ask for him to reach across the divide? Just then, a voice broke through, one of her classmates, Kelly, who had been one of the first to get accepted into an Ivy League school. "Mr. Carter, if you truly believe in uplifting the community, this is your chance. Don't just talk about it, be about it." Cheers erupted from the crowd, fueling Mia's courage. She exchanged heartened glances with her mother, who was beaming with pride from the back of the auditorium. John took a deep breath, visibly grappling with the shift in narrative. He glanced back at Mia, a flicker of understanding dancing in his eyes. "You're right, Mia. Actions do speak louder than words. I will help with your scholarship." Relief washed over her, but it was swift and fleeting as he continued. "But it will be a process. I'll need time to organize support, gather resources. I want to do this right." Mia nodded, determination flickering in her expression. "That's all I ask. Together, we'll help change lives." As the crowd erupted in applause, the air shifted. Hope blossomed. A promise ignited in the collective heart of the audience. John stepped forward, finally taking Mia's hand, sealing their newfound partnership. In the days that followed, Mia and John began working together, blending their worlds in ways they never before expected. Yet, beneath the surface, there were whispers and naysayers. Some from John's inner circle questioned his decision to engage with Mia. How could he risk his reputation for a mere maid's daughter? Mia faced her own battles, scrutiny from her friends, skepticism that threatened to cloud her vision. Would they truly see this through? Would their alliance stand firm against the tide of doubt and privilege that surrounded them? As they moved forward, a new challenge loomed on the horizon. There were deeper systemic issues to confront and fresh confrontations waiting in the wings. Would they be ready when it came time to face the real obstacles? With her heart pounding and the stakes higher than ever, Mia knew that this was just the beginning of their journey together. Little did she know what awaited them next would shake the very foundations of their mission and challenge everything they believed in. The days rolled into weeks, and with each sunrise, Mia and John immersed themselves deeper into the project. They met at coffee shops, libraries, and sometimes in the quiet corners of the office where John worked. Their conversations spiraled into dreams, plans, and strategies. They were laying the groundwork for something that could touch lives far beyond their own. Still, the whispers were persistent. Mia could feel the weight of judgment heavy in the air every time she walked through campus. Friends she once laughed with now barely made eye contact. their expressions mixed with confusion and disbelief. To them, the idea of a maid's daughter working alongside a billionaire was a fantasy, a blatant violation of the unspoken rules of their world. And John was a different story. He wore the weight of his decisions like an anchoring chain. The board meetings were riddled with tension as he defended his partnership with Mia. This scholarship isn't just a project, it's a pledge to dismantle barriers, he argued defiantly. But the skeptical glances and murmurs of doubt still echoed. Think of your image, they warned. You're jeopardizing your public persona. One evening, as they sat down to finalize a presentation for potential donors, Mia noticed the shadow creeping into John's expression. "What's wrong?" she asked, pushing her papers aside, genuinely concerned. He sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. "I just don't know if I can keep doing this. The more we push, the more people want us to fail." Mia reached across the table, placing her hand over his. "Then let's not focus on them. Let's keep our eyes on the goal. A pushback is expected. I mean, look at us." He let out a soft chuckle at her determination, but the worry remained. "What if I let you down?" he whispered, vulnerability cracking through his billionaire armor. "Then we get back up and try again, together," she said firmly, squeezing his hand. In that moment, convinced of their shared mission, they poured their hearts into the presentation. They crafted stories that illustrated dreams not just of students, but of entire communities ready for change. With every slide and every word, hope blossomed again. Days later, standing before a panel of potential donors, Mia's heart raced. She felt the energy ebbing from the crowd, but pressed on, inspired more by their dreams than the doubts of those surrounding her. John stood beside her, a pillar of support, yet his eyes betrayed flickers of anxiety. As they spoke, passion ignited in Mia's voice. "This isn't just about education, it's about breaking a cycle, giving opportunities where there once were none. We have a chance to forge a path for those who haven't had the same advantages." Just as she began to feel the audience respond, a sudden voice interrupted. It was one of the prominent donors, known for his philanthropic work, but notoriously critical. "What makes you think a mere maiden's proposal can drive change? What do you truly know about struggle?" John's jaw tightened, and Mia could feel her breath hitch. The moment hung in the air, thick with tension. Mia took a deep breath, heart pounding as she prepared to respond. But she paused, letting her eyes scan the audience, seeing not just critics, but allies standing ready to support them. "I know more than I ever wanted to," she said, her voice steady, fueled by years of struggle. "I've lived it." Silence fell, the weight of her words hanging in the room. The atmosphere shifted, as if layers of doubt were peeling away. But would it be enough? The outcome was uncertain. The stakes had never been higher, and they were at a critical crossroads. Would their leap of faith spark hope or further skepticism? As her heart raced and the audience leaned forward, eager for more, Mia prepared to confront not just the question of their scholarship, but their very belief in each other. As the silence stretched, Mia felt the weight of the room's gaze on her. Everyone seemed to be holding their breath, waiting for the next chapter to unfold. The critics' questions still echoed in her mind. But instead of stepping back into doubt, she leaned into the moment, gathering her thoughts into a wave of resolve. "Look, I get it. I might not fit the stereotype you have in mind," she began, glancing briefly at John, who nodded, urging her to continue. "But this isn't about me, or even John. It's about every student who feels invisible in a system stacked against them. About those who dream of starting a business but can't afford the tuition, or who want to go to college but can't find a way." As she spoke, she saw a few of the audience members exchange glances. It was like a spark igniting dry kindling. Her voice grew stronger, a passionate fire fueling her determination. I'm not here to talk about my past. I'm here to listen to the stories of every kid who feels like they can't break through. That's where real change begins." The critic shifted uncomfortably in his chair, a nerve hit. The tension in the room morphed. Sparks of understanding flickered to life. Mia let her words hang in the air for a moment, letting them settle into the minds of her listeners. John leaned in closer, a faint smile breaking through his earlier trepidation. He could sense the tide turning. This is the moment, he thought. Together, they had crafted a message that resonated, not just with facts or figures, but with raw, emotional truths. "Mia's lived the struggle," he added, his voice steady as he addressed the panel. "And that's precisely why this initiative matters. She represents countless others who have been overlooked." A low murmur spread through the crowd, rippling like the surface of a lake disturbed by a stone. Finally, a soft hand raised among potential donors. An older woman, her cheeks slightly flushed, spoke with a tremor barely hidden. "I believe in what you are saying. My own husband came from nothing. He would have never succeeded without the support of good people." Her voice broke, and for all her stature, the depth of her experience shone through as she wiped away a tear. Mia's heart swelled. This was the connection they needed. Others started to follow suit, sharing snippets of their own stories, of times they had faced struggle and how support from unexpected places had changed their lives. Notes of empathy rang out, creating a chorus of shared sentiments filling the air. "What you are doing is inspiring," another ventured. It was a younger man, perhaps a recent graduate. "Maybe we all need to rethink who deserves a chance." And just like that, the ice began to melt. All those critical murmurs turned into thoughtful dialogues, the waves of skepticism now shifting towards understanding. The tension ebbed with each shared story, replaced with a tangible current of hope and possibility. As the energy of the crowd grew, Mia and John exchanged a glance that said more than words ever could. They were on the brink of something monumental. But then, just as the energy felt revitalized, a sharp voice cut through the air again. It was the original critic, though this time his tone had softened, even as uncertainty edged his words. "While I understand your passion, this still seems risky. Have you truly thought through the ramifications?" Mia's stomach twisted at the challenge. This was the moment they had both feared, the last defense of a fortress unwilling to bend. Swallowing hard, she realized this moment could redefine everything, not just for her and John, but for countless others waiting in the wings for their chance. Could they convince him and those like him? Did they really have what it takes? Across the table, John squeezed her hand again, offering her strength. The stakes had never been higher, and the path ahead seemed as daunting as it was promising. Mia took another breath, feeling both fear and determination surge through her. "Then let us show you," she responded, her gaze steady, ready to commit to this leap of faith. "Let us show you exactly how much change we can create together." As the air thickened with anticipation, the question remained. Could they convince the doubters and keep the tide of hope rolling in their favor? Mia felt the air crackle around them as she held the critic's gaze. The room had transformed into a battleground of ideals, each side quietly waiting for the other to yield. Yet here was Mia refusing to back down, a fire ignited within her. "Everything we do begins with a risk, doesn't it?" she spoke, her voice rising with conviction. "If we want to make a real difference, we can't play it safe. It's time we step outside our comfort zones, together." The critic shifted in his seat, the challenge clearly prodding at him. The other panel members exchanged glances, their expressions a mixture of intrigue and apprehension. John leaned in closer, keeping his eyes focused on Mia. He believed in her. He hadn't come this far to let fear creep back in. "We're not just asking for investment," he interjected. "We're asking for belief. Belief in the future we can build for our kids. Belief in every story we've shared." Mia nodded, feeling the weight of their combined words creating an unbreakable bond with the audience. She was determined to just keep going. "Think back to your own beginnings," she continued. "Did you think you'd be where you are today? How many people lifted you when you stumbled? We want to be those lifters for the next generation." The older— "She's right," she said, her voice tremulous but clear. "Every opportunity we give is another step forward. My husband and I didn't have much, but someone believed in him. It changed our lives." That moment felt electric. A ripple of empathy coursed through the crowd, bringing even the most reluctant subjects closer to the truth Mia was speaking. Stories emerged, flowing from the hearts of the audience like an open tap. Narratives of struggle, triumph, and the undeniable power of support weaved a tapestry of connection that bound them together. Suddenly, the critic clenched his jaw. He held up a finger like he might protest, but hesitated. The conflict in his expression was telling. Mia sensed he wasn't fully against them anymore. "You're suggesting a bold approach," he finally replied, his tone softer but still cautious. "But what if it doesn't work? What then?" "Then we learn," Mia replied without missing a beat. "Learning is never wasted. It's a stepping stone to something better. If we fail, we elevate ourselves to try again." A chorus of nods filled the room. She could see the audience changing, shifting from doubt to contemplation, from skepticism to hope. Hearts began to open in ways that she'd only ever dreamed possible. But just as the energy peaked, a voice broke through. It was a young woman towards the back, her voice crisp and unwavering. "What if we don't wait for opportunities to come to us? What if we create our own? Isn't that what we should be teaching?" Her question hung in the air, heavy and profound. The entire room buzzed with energy, a medley of voices discussing, debating, and imagining the endless possibilities unfolding. Mia felt the tapestry tightening, a thread connecting them all. This was no longer just about her and John. This was about everyone in the room, everyone willing to be part of something bigger. But just as hope reigned, Mia caught sight of the critic, his face filled with turmoil and energy. Would he concede? Would he finally see the vision that connected them all? Mia's heart pounded. "Together," she whispered, almost to herself, but loud enough for those nearby to hear. "That's how real change happens." She looked out at the audience, feeling a pulse of shared energy. And as she stood there, feeling that energy rise and connect them all, she wondered, was it time for the critic to let go of doubt? Would he finally let the tides turn in their favor? The critic shifted again, and Mia felt the tension in the room swell like a balloon ready to burst. Everything hinged on this moment. His face reflected a storm of thoughts, each wave crashing against the walls he'd built around his skepticism. "Look," he began, looking directly into Mia's eyes. "What you propose requires not just courage, but a leap of faith. How can we be sure it's worth it?" Mia took a deep breath, feeling the weight of every heart in the room resting upon her. Because worth isn't measured by the outcome, but by the intention behind it. It's about planting seeds, not just expecting fruit. Each step forward means learning together. Success isn't guaranteed, but connection, support, and growth, that's what we can definitely promise. Murmurs rippled through the crowd as a sense of understanding filled the space, warm and inviting. John leaned back, folding his arms, watching curiously. Another voice pierced through the murmur, this time from a young man, not far from where the woman had spoken earlier. "I'm scared of failing too," he admitted, his voice trembling yet fierce. "But I'm scared of doing nothing even more. The world needs us to try, to reach for the jumbled dreams we hide in the corners of our minds. If we don't, who will?" The crowd fell silent again. His words hung like stars in the vast expanse of the night sky, awakening something deep within. Mia could feel the shared heartbeat of every individual rising together, their spirits lifting in unity. Then it happened. The critic visibly softened, his eyes reflecting an understanding that was almost palpable. "I see what you're all trying to do," he started, trailing off as uncertainty gripped him again. "And I can't pretend there isn't merit in your passion. But what if your passion isn't enough? What if this initiative crumbles under pressure?" Mia leaned in closer, her heart racing. "Then we rebuild. We build with the lessons we gain along the way. We're not just asking for backing, we're asking for belief in something greater than ourselves, our kids, our communities." The reality of these words settled in, their weight providing a grounding force within the storm of the debate. Murmurs of agreement danced through the audience as emotional exchanges filled fleeting glances and nods. "What?" The critic hesitated, a spark of determination lighting his features. What if I became an advocate for this, for creating opportunities instead of waiting for them?" A gasping silence washed over the room, everyone hanging on the edge of his words. Mia's heart thudded in her chest. Was he really considering this? Would he stand with them? Before she could respond, the older woman from earlier urged, "Then let us come together to show you how everyone deserves a chance, to lift them, to be the lifters we all spoke of." Mia smiled, sensing a shift, a glimmer of hope igniting amidst the disengagement that once clouded the critic's expression. Together, that's how we change things. At that moment, an energy surged, each person in the room electrified with possibility. They were no longer passive observers, they were co-architects of a new reality. Heartbeats echoed as they grasped their own voices, ready to be heard. But just as joy blossomed, the critic's expression darkened, revealing yet another layer of conflict. "If this doesn't work," he trailed off, his voice barely above a whisper, "what will we have lost?" Rushed to answer before the moment slipped away. Growth knows no lost paths. Every step is a new direction. That's the beauty of this journey. As their eyes locked again, she could see the flicker of vulnerability mirrored in his gaze. If they could just embrace this, they could create something truly transformative. But Mia's thoughts were fraught with anticipation. Could this delicate thread of hope remain unbroken? What would happen when they stepped into the unknown together? In that charged silence, a new question hung between them, a dangerous promise waiting to unfold. Would he join them on that leap of faith? Mia could feel the weight of the room as everyone's eyes flicked back and forth between her and the critic, whose breathing had grown noticeably heavier with every passing second. The tension was palpable. She wondered if he could sense it too, the shared anticipation, the beating hope. He was a man of power after all, and the stakes were higher than before. She waited, her heart racing, every heartbeat echoing in her ears. "Listen," he finally spoke, breaking the silence with a voice that trembled slightly. "I can't promise I'll have all the answers, but it's hard to ignore what's happening here. You're right, the world does need us to reach out, and maybe I've been hiding behind my own fears." Murmurs of encouragement spread among the crowd like a warm wave washing over each soul, emboldening them further. Mia felt strength surging from every corner, from every supportive gaze pinned on the critic. Hope was turning into action. "Let's talk about what we can do next." His eyes, once clouded with doubt, were now a mirror of challenge as he opened the floor for dialogue. "If we're doing this, we need a plan, something concrete." Mia exchanged glances with John and the older woman, their excitement contagious. Absolutely, we can craft workshops, host community events, anything to maximize our reach and impact. We can show them that they're not alone. Her words were laced with urgency, and each sentence sparked additional ideas from others in the room. The young man who'd spoken before chimed in. What about creating a mentorship program? Connecting people who have made it with those just starting out? It could be a lifeline. Yes, Mia exclaimed, her excitement bubbling over as she imagined every possibility unfolding. The critic nodded, a genuine fascination illuminating his face. That's it, a blend of experience and enthusiasm, a bridge between generations. We can develop resources, funds, even grants to get this off the ground. Mia felt that electric thrill of possibility again, each suggestion building into something magnificent. They were bouncing ideas off one another, and in that momentum, Mia began to see glimpses of the future they could create. A future where dreams began to unfurl and grow in the sunlight of a shared commitment. As they discussed logistics and brainstormed schedules, laughter and camaraderie replaced the previous tension in the room. Hearts were lighter now, as if chains were being cast off, revealing the beauty of vulnerability they'd all danced around before. The critic, who had once seemed distant, shared anecdotes that transformed his image from a hardened observer to someone genuinely willing to lend a hand. As he spoke about his own struggles, Mia realized he was revealing a piece of himself, something that made him more relatable than she had ever expected. But then, with a sudden seriousness, his eyes darted around the room once more, locking in on Mia. What if it doesn't work out? What if the world isn't ready for this kind of change? A stark chill stitched itself into the air again. Questions that had felt tucked away and forgotten now loomed large. What if all this hard work crumbled? Mia felt the anxious heaviness press against her chest. She took a moment, letting the uncertainty settle before answering. We do it anyway, because trying is better than standing still. Each failure is a stepping stone, not a dead end. She felt the energy shift as they began to absorb her words, hearts rekindled with resolve. But the critic's gaze didn't waver, still searching for a definitive answer. And the emotional costs. Will the community forgive us if we let them down? The room fell silent. It felt like a gut punch, stripping away some of the hope they had just built together. Mia could see the tightness in the faces around her. Doubts began to wash in like a tide. Forgiveness is part of growth, she replied, her voice steadier this time, more convincing. If we can show them we care enough to try, even if we stumble, they'll remember that. In the glow of newfound understanding, the crowd leaned closer, ready not just to listen, but to join. Mia still felt the tug of uncertainty, all the possibilities swirling like leaves in a storm. But was she ready for the truth of the journey ahead? Would they have the strength to gather themselves, even when facing failure head-on? As the meeting wound down, a flicker of realization hit Mia. It was just the beginning, layered with the weight of not just hopes, but also fears. What would they face together in this wild leap toward the unknown? As the meeting concluded, a gentle hum of excited chatter filled the room. Mia stood quietly at the back, her mind whirling with everything that had just unfolded. The faces around her still sparkled with hope, but she could feel that nagging worry pulling at her heartstrings. It was one thing to envision a movement, but another to sustain it through the inevitable ups and downs. "Hey, Mia," John called, waving her over. He stood beside the critic, whose name Mia still found herself unsure about amidst the whirlwind of ideas. "Are you all right?" John nodded, forcing a smile. "Yeah, just a lot to think about." "Yeah," John agreed, scanning the room. "But this was amazing. Did you see how people reacted? We really ignited something here." "True," she admitted, glancing at the critic, who now spoke with a small group animatedly. He was laughing, and it felt surreal to see him this way after so much tension. "It's just, I worry. Can we really pull this off?" The older woman who had contributed earlier joined them, a warm smile spreading across her face. "We can. If we let passion be our compass, we'll find our way." Her words sparked something inside Mia. As they gathered their belongings, the critic approached. "You three did great," he said, his enthusiasm evident. "But I truly want to hear from each of you. Let's plan to meet again next week. We can list priorities, divvy up tasks." Mia felt a flicker of excitement. A concrete plan was beginning to take shape. "Yes, I think it's essential to keep the momentum going," she responded. "Every voice matters, and it's going to take all of us to make this happen." "Exactly," the critic replied, leaning closer as if sharing a secret. "But I also want to hear about your stories. The community needs to connect with the people behind this movement. They'll be inspired." Mia's heart swelled. "My story?" she echoed. "I suppose we all have pieces of our lives that could resonate." "We do," he affirmed with a firm nod. "Think about it. People will like knowing who you are. It'll fuel the fire even more." As they walked outside, the sunset spilled golden light across the street, bathing everything in warmth. The air buzzed with renewed purpose, each step feeling lighter. Yet questions lingered in Mia's mind. "Do you really think we can get this off the ground?" she asked John quietly, concern slipping back into her voice. John grinned. "When have we ever backed down from something difficult? This is our chance to make a difference." Just as they reached the curb, an older man approached Mia. His weathered hands clutched a newspaper with a headline screaming, "Local Voices Rising." His eyes sparkled with recognition. You spoke today, didn't you? It moved me." Mia felt her breath catch. She had imagined getting feedback one day, but not so soon. "Thank you," she managed to say, feeling the impact of her words settling deep. "It takes courage to bring the community together," he continued, and for a moment it felt as if time stood still. "Don't underestimate the power of your voice." As he walked away, Mia felt the warm press of emotion in her chest. Could she really be part of something bigger than herself? Would they all find courage when facing the storm ahead? "Wow, Mia!" John cheered. "You really made an impression on him." She turned to him, bubbling with new resolve. "We can't stop now. We have to follow through." But in her gut, uncertainty lingered. What if the community turned against them? What if all this energy fizzled out? As thoughts swirled, Mia looked at her friends, heart racing once more with the thrill of the unknown. "Next week, we'll solidify things. I want each of you to come prepared." "What will we do?" the older woman asked, her eyes bright. "Share our stories," Mia answered, her voice growing steady again. "Let's reveal the heart behind this movement, and not just the good, but the hard stuff too. They deserve to see all of us." But deep inside, she felt her bravery waning. Was she ready to strip away layers of herself for this cause? Would sharing her truth strengthen their community, or end up shattering her own? The group shared determined looks, their spirits interconnected. Yet a lingering tension hung in the air. Would they truly have the strength needed to be vulnerable and face adversity head-on? As the sun dipped below the horizon, Mia took a deep breath. Every heartbeat a reminder of what was at stake. What was waiting for them when they dared to step boldly into their own stories? Mia paced back and forth in her small apartment, her heart pounding in tandem with her thoughts. The meeting had sparked something within her, but her mind kept circling back to the upcoming gathering. How could she bare her soul to the world? What if her story wasn't enough? With each step, she absorbed the fading glow of twilight filtering through her window, casting long shadows across her cluttered floor. That old worry nagged at her, whispering doubts that threatened to drown out the excitement from earlier. She had a good reason to be cautious. In a world where people often used vulnerability against each other, was she ready to risk it all? After taking a deep breath, she reached for her notebook, fingers trembling slightly over the pages. The blank space stared back at her, daring her to fill it with words that represented who she was. Her fingers hovered for a moment, and she felt a heaviness settle in her chest. "Mia," she whispered to herself, "you can do this." But even as she repeated the words, uncertainty wrapped around her like heavy chains. As she began writing, snippets of her past flooded her mind. The late nights watching her mother juggle jobs, the sacrifices made, the unfathomable strength that had taken to keep moving forward. But was that really worthy of sharing? Would anyone even care? Suddenly, her phone buzzed, jolting her from her thoughts. It was a message from John, asking if they could brainstorm over coffee. Mia's heart lifted a little at the thought of his unwavering support. They had been through so much together. Maybe sharing her concerns would help her clarify her thoughts. With a newfound sense of purpose, she responded quickly and gathered her things. The noise of the city greeted her as she descended the stairs, a comfort amidst the chaos. Each step outside peeled back layers of insecurity. She was yet to embrace her full potential, and she could feel the weight lifting. The cafe was bustling. John waved from a corner table, his grin infectious. He could always light up the darkest days. As Mia approached, he jumped up and hugged her tightly, making her feel a little bit lighter. "Ready to brainstorm?" he asked, enthusiasm bouncing off his voice. "Yeah, I am," she replied, sinking into the warmth of their friendship. They settled into conversation easily, flicking ideas back and forth like a friendly game of catch. But it was John who decided to dig deeper. "Mia, what's really holding you back? I can see it in your eyes." A lump formed in her throat. "I'm terrified, John. What if my story isn't enough?" She sighed heavily. "What if sharing it makes everything worse?" "Your story is yours," he said firmly. "That alone makes it powerful. People need to hear it, to see the real you. That's where the connection begins." Mia considered his words. Maybe he was right. Sharing her story could be the very thing to bind their community together, a thread that stitched people closer in a world that sometimes felt frayed. "But what if I fail?" she whispered, the fear raw in her voice. "And what if you succeed?" John countered softly. "What if your courage inspires someone else?" Mia's heart swelled, the truth of his words stealing breath from her lungs. She had spent so long hiding, but maybe embracing her story was the very first step towards something profound. As they finished their coffee, a plan began to form in her mind. "All right," she said with newfound determination. "Let's figure out how to present our stories. I want them to feel real." "Now we're talking," John grinned, and together they leaned over the table, scribbling ideas as the world faded around them. But deeper questions lingered. Mia knew they would face challenges, criticism, doubt, resistance. Could they truly be ready for the storm that lay ahead? What might unravel if they dared to peel back their layers and reveal their truths? As they left the cafe, a spark ignited in Mia's chest, thrilling and terrifying all at once. She took a deep breath. Sometimes the hardest paths lead to the brightest destinations. But would they be prepared for the journey ahead? The day of the community gathering dawned bright and clear, the sun casting golden rays that seemed to bless the moment. Mia could feel the energy humming in the air as she stood at the entrance of the makeshift venue, a local community center adorned with colorful banners and heartfelt invitations to join the conversation of change. Her heart raced. She had meticulously planned this event, not just to share her story, but to empower others to do the same. Sharing her truth felt like an enormous leap over a bottomless pit. She took a deep breath, summoning the courage she had gathered over the past few weeks. The room filled with friendly faces, buzzing with excitement and anticipation. People took their seats. Mia caught sight of her mother at the back, her smile radiant, pride bubbling in her eyes. It reminded Mia of why she was doing this. She wasn't alone in this journey. They were all connected, each person a voice in a growing chorus of hope. When the time came, she looked out into the audience, and the sight gave her strength. "Thank you all for being here," she began, her voice soft but gaining strength as she went on. "Today, we're not just here to listen. We're here to share our truths, to spark change, and to uplift each other. Mia spoke passionately about her journey, pouring out the struggles of her upbringing, the sacrifices her mother made, and the dreams she had for a better tomorrow. Each word painted a picture, and she hoped the audience could see it, feel it deep in their souls. Alongside her, John took his turn, embodying the transformation he had undergone in their shared mission. He spoke about privilege, responsibility, and how easily one could overlook the struggles of those living in shadows. Mia showed me the true meaning of commitment, he confessed. I realized that it's not just about charity, it's about collaboration. As they spoke, it was clear that their hearts had merged into one cause, a unified front against inequality. Moments of vulnerability shone brightly, breaking down walls of doubt and fear that had been erected over the years. Then, as they opened the floor for others to share, a palpable shift occurred. Voices that had been silenced resonated through the space. Stories of struggle, perseverance, and triumph filled the room, blending into a mosaic of human experience. Laughter intertwined with tears as participants took turns bravely stepping into the spotlight, revealing their truths. A woman in the front row spoke about her journey as a single mother, fighting against the odds to give her children a better future. A young man recounted his childhood, marked by obstacles, yet powered by dreams. The energy surged, shared experiences ignited passion that set the room ablaze. Mia felt tears welling up as the voices echoed around her. This was it: community, connection, transformation. The critic who had once questioned her stood up, no longer a force of skepticism, but a beacon of support. I was wrong, he admitted, his voice steady. You all deserve this chance to flourish. Let's do more than talk. Let's act together. The crowd erupted into applause. Joy reverberated through the air, wrapping every participant in warmth. As the event drew to a close, people lingered, exchanging contact information, sharing more stories, and planning ways to continue their mission. Mia felt buoyant. This was just the beginning. It marked the dawn of a movement. In the days following, the momentum only grew stronger. Emails flooded in from local businesses willing to support the scholarship program. John and Mia met with community leaders, crafting plans that connected mentors with students in need. The initial whispers of skepticism faded, replaced by hope, dreams, and a determination to overcome. As they stood before a gathering full of eager faces at the scholarship launch a few months later, Mia's heart fluttered. They had achieved something beautiful. Her mother stood proudly at the front, tears in her eyes, as she watched her daughter step into her purpose. "Mia," John whispered, nudging her gently, "look at what we've created together." "I know," she breathed, a radiant smile lighting up her face as she absorbed the moment. "We've started something that'll last long after we are gone." This was the legacy they were building, a legacy woven from courage, truth, and newfound strength within their community. And as she looked around, she saw hearts kindled and lives transformed in ways she had only dreamt of. In that moment, she understood it wasn't merely about funding or success metrics. It was about creating a space for every voice to resonate. Together, they had built bridges across divides, and soon, she hoped, they would see a ripple effect far and wide. As the applause enveloped her, Mia felt the embrace of community wrap around her, every beat of her heart affirming that change was not just possible, it was thriving. "Let's keep pushing," she whispered to John, their hands clasped in determination. "Together," he answered, eyes shining with hope. And as the doors of possibility swung wide open, Mia knew this was just the beginning of their incredible transformation story. Now the real mission kicked off, and she couldn't wait to see what was next. If you're feeling inspired by Mia and John's journey, this is the moment to show your support. Hit that subscribe button immediately to not miss the next exclusive stories that are sure to transform your perspective. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more hearts. comment your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Because only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Don't wait, not even one more second to share.